Hi, welcome back. I'd like to speak today about what I call the 3-week slump. This is a post-shock reaction I want to talk about. And the reason I want to mention it is because I've been noticing in the various conversations I've been having, a lot of people saying, I'm absolutely exhausted at the moment. Don't know why, but I'm completely drained. I just really need to spend the day on the sofa. So whether this applies to you or not, I think it's still of interest because it seems to me that it's happening on a wider basis. It's a collective manifestation which can often kick in about 3 weeks after a significant shock. So when there's a shock to any individual person or to a culture, a whole group of people, a society, there's an immediate reaction which can range from disbelief to panic to excitement to running around in circles to becoming lethargic and feeling completely despairing. Those immediate reactions that take place are like a kind of a knee-jerk reaction. And we've all experienced them. I assume we all have experienced them at one time or another. If somebody walks into the room and shouts at you, you jump. It's an immediate reaction. After that immediate reaction is over, there's a certain amount of trying to get used to the situation, the new situation, which is probably in some ways different. So if the shock is the loss of a loved one, we then have to get used to the fact that the loved one is not there, and we also have to get used to the fact that we are in a state of grief. And our energies and our attentions and our activities and behaviours are caught up with getting accustomed to the new situation and learning to cope with it. About 3 weeks in, often is the case, about 3 weeks in, it varies according to the magnitude of the shock, but very commonly there comes a point where we're over the initial knee-jerk reaction, we're over the period of time of getting used to the new situation and learning to cope with it, and we hit a point where we no longer need to be quite so actively involved in the cause of the shock itself, the aftermath of it, or learning to cope with it. And at that point, all the energy we've been expending so far suddenly catches up. Hence the 3-week slump. So in the situation that we're in at the moment, collectively, there's been a significant shock. Now, there are repeated reverberations of this shock as we get new information, new instructions, and so on. So it's not like the shock is over, but the initial shock is over. It's not news anymore. And for many of us, we've actually gone through our initial knee-jerk reaction and well into and perhaps through the other side of our getting accustomed to the new situation and learning to cope with it. It's something that we as humans have the most amazing faculty for, which is we can learn to become accustomed to almost any kind of scenario. A generalisation like that is not going to be 100% true, but we've got an extraordinary capacity for becoming accustomed to a variety of scenarios, including very difficult scenarios, almost to the point where we can start to tune out the distressing aspects of those scenarios. And this is one of our survival characteristics. This is something that allows us to survive, allows us to keep functioning, keep getting up in the morning, keep moving around, having ideas, feeding ourselves, washing ourselves, looking after our children, our loved ones, our parents, whoever it is that we need to be taking care of, and our businesses, our work, our projects. So it's a fantastic facility, capacity that we have. So what's the point of this 3-week slump? Why is it worth mentioning? It's worth mentioning because if it is happening to us collectively, and perhaps for you personally, or for me personally, being aware of it means that we can recognise that it's completely natural, completely normal, and we can take a break. To whatever extent that's possible. You'll notice I'm still here making a video and still here putting out bulletins and talking to people and doing my work. That's true. But what I have done, because I've read in my own body, in my own energy, this 3-week slump is taking place to some extent, I've actually cut back on the demands I'm putting on myself this week. I'm taking more naps. I'm walking more slowly when I go for a walk. I'm taking a break from doing my workouts this week. I'm still doing yoga. I'm just kind of generally easing off a little bit in light of this 3-week slump. Now, if you're somebody who's feeling really highly energized, motivated, and active, all I would invite you to do is to make room for the possibility that this slump may be going on for other people who you know, and it may be going on in the collective field. And by the collective field, you probably know what I mean, but what I'm talking about is the group consciousness or the group mind, which is if you kind of took the temperature of the collective consciousness of whatever group you want to focus on, whether it's your village, your town, your country, your continent, the world. So I couldn't possibly claim to be taking the temperature of all of that. What I can do is I can take the temperature of myself and tune into what other people have been telling me. And also tune into this 3-week slump is a bit of a recognised pattern. So I invite you, if you are experiencing the 3-week slump, to accept it, embrace it, celebrate it, enjoy your naps, your rest, your yoga, your meditation, your gentle walking, your massage treatments if you're in isolation with someone who happens to be a skilled body worker, or if not, they can now learn and they can add something to the quality of life for you. So that's it from me for today, other than to say thank you very much, everybody, for all of the messages and calls I've been receiving. It's been really delightful and fascinating hearing all your stories about how creative you're being. So all the best, go well, and see you next week.